Consistency is the heart of the libertarian ethos. They justly demand status give coherent reasons to use the state and to justify its very existence. Lysander Spooner, an individualist anarchist and libertarian, wrote extensively about the unjustifiable nature of the state in several essays, most notably No Treason, Natural Law, Vices Are Not Crimes, and On Taxes. Spooner contends that it offends law and reason that any entity may levy compulsory taxation unto anyone. To even assert anything in favor of state rule is to exit the realm of logic and coherency. He writes in his essay, On Taxes, "No middle ground is possible on this subject. Either taxation without consent is robbery, or it is not. If it is not, then any number of men who choose may at any time associate, call themselves a government, assume absolute authority over all weaker than themselves, plunder them at will, and kill them if they resist. If, on the other hand, taxation without consent is robbery, then it necessarily follows that every man who has not consented to be taxed has the same natural right to defend his property against a tax gatherer, that he has to defend it against a highwayman." When I first read this, I believed there was no possible way to turn back. Humans, by virtue of their rational soul, have an inalienable right of self-ownership. If this was not the case, then this permits others to own people as property. Even then, slavery creates an inconsistency. A longtime anarchist and left libertarian YouTuber, Filthy Heretic, said, "Who gets to own slaves, and who is made to be a slave? To make these distinctions would create an inconsistency in how slavery is applied." Thus, I couldn't continue being a statist. I then became a devout, individualist anarchist for about 3 years. However, the logical framework for rationalizing the non-aggression principle is myopic and cannot see that the individual has limits on his seemingly absolute autonomy over himself. The natural right to self-ownership, while a completely coherent and valid concept, is conditional, not absolute. This isn't an inconsistent or incoherent idea. Even libertarians agree with this. There are actions that will void your self-ownership. For instance, assume person X invade person Y's house and proceeds to steal some belongings. What makes of X's self-ownership? Who knows? Y, under any systems of law and order, can justly perform a whole range of actions to end this aggression, from incapacitating to killing X. This is not to say that X's fate shouldn't be in Y's hands. Thus, some actions may annul your self-ownership, and you may have it only up to a point. A different picture from the absolutist position previously posited by the likes of Spooner. There are non-violent actions that the state may justly prohibit, that no one has the right to do regardless of his self-ownership. For example, let's analyze why littering, namely leaving behind previously owned property so as to dispose of it, cannot be justified whatsoever. Why would this be the case? Don't people have the right to dispose of things? It's no different from placing objects we own on different surfaces, right? This isn't a misrepresentation of their position. Libertarianism simply has no way in their system of justice to prohibit littering. Littering evinces metaphysical truths libertarians have no ability to grapple with, viz. 1. The individual isn't the focal political unit in society, and 2. Nonviolent actions oftentimes affects the community and individual negatively. When someone litters, it displays his hubris, namely, he places his convenience over the community's aesthetic value, thus threatening the vitality of the community. The physical manifestation of his self-interest is the dirtier environment and an anathema to beauty. This in turn causes other individuals to litter as well, for there is nothing stopping them from doing so. So no, Ensemble Barrique, another libertarian I loved reading, individualism is not redemption, greatness, chivalry, or order. Individualism makes excuses for non-chivalrous behavior and promotes self and community harm. The solution to littering is simple. Ban it. Have the state come in and impose a heavy punishment a la Singapore. The libertarian will certainly feel a cold uneasiness travel up his spine upon reading this, but this is an example of the non-aggression principle being insufficient for preserving the integrity and dignity of a community. This all stems from the simple fact that libertarians overlook the importance of their community and how it can affect them directly. Indeed, the health of the community determines the quality of your wives, or husbands if the libertarian is a woman, the quality of your friends, the quality of your neighbors, and, most importantly, the circumstances your children will grow up in. Libertarianism seeks to obscure and obfuscate this fact to solely focus on the individual and the pursuit of his happiness. Some actions are worthy of state punishment, and I value preserving lasting traditions of virtue that the Lord our God put in place when he gave Moses the Torah and the commandments on Mount Sinai. These are only a few reasons why I renounce libertarianism and why I'm now a conservative. Thanks for watching. The article and all citations are in the link in the description. Now, Deuteronomy 6:5. You must love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might.